This is your daily market recap for Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max, CDXP Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market review for Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. Another choppy OPEX day where the VIX is being compressed. Another day where bulls are getting uber confident, bears are giving up on the short idea, and the market is playing games. Please grab a coffee, get comfortable. We got a lot to talk about this one. Hopefully, we'll give you some insights of what we're expecting coming up, because again, I think a lot of people anticipate the market to have to dump, to have to go to the moon. And we're at some inflection points on a lot of different names and stocks where I think if you start looking at the evidence, you start looking kind of beyond the surface level of things, you're starting to see some weakness that's really prominent. That, again, when does it play out? I wish I knew. But again, I love how the sentiment, literally, I mean, I've got folks DMing me bullish, just, hey, the market only goes up, stocks only go up. It feels very reminiscent of some of the previous, I would say, bear market peaks, where just the sentiment is like, nothing can go wrong, and bad news is good news, and good news is good news, and it's like, well, we're about to see some major changes in things, in my opinion. So if you're new to the channel, want to join the Discord room, the link is in the description below. I appreciate all the love, support, donations. Please be careful out there. It's a wild market. Always hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions. Please follow, always posting what we think is relevant. Talked about this a couple days again. It's a bloodbath in the trucking industry. JB Hunt confirmed that with their earnings yesterday. A lot of stuff we've been talking about today, stuff that's worth interesting. I mean, just right off the close, Tesla net cash flow. Yikes. So anyway, we'll talk about Tesla here shortly. But if you're newer to the channel, want to learn, again, tons of videos, back to basics, or on my YouTube channel, or again, check out my website, www.thetradingagent.com. Here, the Back to Basics series. Go through it, spend some time watching the videos, a little bit of reading, and if you want to sign up for the newsletter. Again, the more you give, the more you'll get back. That's how I say it. If you want information and you give your time, your effort to learn, there's plenty of stuff, endless amounts of stuff, videos, content. It's there meant to learn. And again, on this webpage, starts off more beginner and then gets to advanced. CME tool, what's going on today with the Fed Fund futures for the May meeting? Lock for a rate hike in May. Pause in June at this point. That's what it's looking like. So let's get into all the names. All right, here's a thing. Evidence of things may be changing, right? Bitcoin. Look above. I didn't get that. Sorry, Siri. Look above and fail. Clear as day. Tried to make new highs. Chopping. We talked about this range up here. Very important. Peeling back. You got to watch this next 28,000 support. With the volume, we've had a bunch of light volume, except for, you had this nice blow up. Rise with volume. Now you're starting to see distribution. Worth keeping an eye on. Oil. Same thing. Rises up into the mid 80s. As we talked about, personally, I'm going to be very patient with oil and gas. But seeing them rise at some point had to give what? Issue to the feds. They have a huge problem here. How is inflation not going to entrench if oil prices stay high? Well, then you saw the European and British CPIs double digit. Holy crap. Just goes to show you that the tightening is nowhere done. Nowhere close to done. And me personally, whether you think about it or not, you want to be bearish or bullish. Again, I've said this 1,000 times about the dollar. The dollar is going to bottom at some point, and the feds are going to try to reassert dominance. They're going to do whatever they need to do, if that means raising rates, sounding more hawkish, playing the game like they do. And they're going to want to get money into bonds at some point. Again, what is that, right? How does that work, right? Well, think about it. Money is not destroyed. It's only created for the most part. And so it's moving around. And at some point, they're going to want people to buy bonds. I can have this rant every day if needed. Natural gas, people getting very excited about it. Again, UNG, please just leave it alone. It's one of those tickers. It just devalues, decays, whatever. It's not the best play for natural gas. And again, I don't think natural gas is going. We've talked about previous videos. Chop, 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 chop. The dollar, the demise of the dollar continues to get talked about in the last couple weeks, yet we're making higher lows. We're retesting range highs, making higher lows. If this gets over the 20-day, look out. Again, this is a big trend line on the daily, this big black one. Now, again, you can go below it temporarily. If I'm bullish the dollar, watch the 20-day. Again, things that a market probably are not going to like. Just keeping that in mind. A lot of people go get emotional. Oh, what are you doing? What, you can't say that. Okay. TLT. It's another thing we've talked about. Getting pretty choppy. Obviously been choppy as well, but thing that you got to be aware of. Rates going higher or rates going lower? Well, next week, FOMC meeting, they're obviously raising the interbank lending rate. Now, the Treasury rate, we'll see. Now, does them raising rates signify slowing economy in time? That's why you can have the Feds raising rates and the bonds being bought, because people start anticipating what? Economic weakness. Major inflection point here. I mean, it feels likely that we could get back down to the range lows at some point, but I don't think the market's going to like that. That's my opinion. The VIX, this is unreal, y'all. I mean, today it was like, oh, it's 17. It's like kind of laughing about it. It's like, hey, everyone get excited. And it's like, meh, meh, meh. No. But keep in mind, we're looking below massive support. Massive support area, right? In this area between 16 and 17. Could you get down to 15? That would be absolutely bonkers. I doubt we'll get there. What I'd keep focus on, think about at this point, compression, OPEX. Remember, the week usually goes one direction and then another direction. Well, I would say last 3 days, the VIX has gone down. Probably going to be going higher later in the week. This is a SPY. No one will believe it. No one cares, but whatever. Chopping. Bulls getting, I mean, again, I see this every day, and bulls are like, the market is just so strong, it's absorbing. I'm like, it's literally not making new highs. And then you zoom out on the monthly, and I show this basically every video. Curling down 20 month. You haven't seen a curling down 20 months since what? The last bear market. Now you're retesting it. You really think we're going to break out? Same thing with the Qs. Right now the Qs have started to weaken and the leadership's starting to thin. Same thing. You really think we're going to break out? Okay, QQQ again, chopping. Now this has been leading up, and so you got to give it credit where it's due. But this is the thing we've been saying. Watch the IWM. IWM leads, while the Qs and the SPY are up near the upper end of the range bound. IWM ways the heck down here. We said watch for lagging. I mean, I would say it's still lagging. Now again, it's holding trend, this little uptrend flag, whatever you want to call it, in near term. All right, just be careful. Dia. Talked about this one again, hitting upper range bound, lower highs maybe. Trend line, worth watching. Gold, get a lot of hate. Hate. Player haters ball. You know that Dave Chappelle skit, right? Buck Nasty have to refill her mama's water bowl. Well, if you know what I'm talking about. Well, here you go. Gold, 20-day. Okay. Now, again, I'm not going to tell you with, with 100% confidence that gold's going down. I'm about at 99.9% because the Feds are going to interest rates and it's risen up into the FOMC meeting. I've said this and I'll say it over and over. If the market gets slammed, will gold hold up? We'll see. But here's the biggest question mark you have to have in the back of your head, right? What if, like always, gold isn't bottoming until the Feds pivot? Well, we're not at the Fed pivot yet, y'all. Keep that in mind. We'll see. I personally said, watch out. When this starts really getting gapish, trappish, and tight candles up here, this looked pretty bearish to me. And then now what? 20-day. Like holding on. Now, long-term, am I bearish? No. I'm looking for dips to buy this stuff. But that's, again, if I was long this stuff, I'd be raising my stops, I'd actually take profits and raise my stops, knowing that I don't know how much more upside there is. Silver coming back into recent highs from last year. Now what? Right? It's holding the 22, 23 area. See what happens. I mean, I'm interested to see it because you got the volume, right? You got the volume. Now what? All right. Keep it on it because silver typically, I mean, again, I trust big gold moves when silver leads, not when it lags. And that's what was interesting, is right? Like, think about gold down here. It was making new lows. Well, silver wasn't. That's how we kind of predicted the bottom here, right? We talked about like, silver's holding up. All right, we'll see what it does at the highs. You know who else leads? The miners. And again, the miners can get absolutely slapped around. Nobody listens. They don't understand. Again, I could do it every video and show you the monthly, what happens when the VIX spikes and the market sells off and gold miners get absolutely thrashed. And it didn't matter. It doesn't. Oh, God, another guide down. F5 Networks. Geez, I'm just looking some stuff after. Watching the earnings stuff. Hits the Ukraine highs and some support resistance, right? I guess that's not the Ukraine high. What is it? Oh, it's an old resistance. Again, just when in doubt, zoom out. You can see this is a major area here. Hit it. And again, there's a lot of major areas that you could always argue could hit and fail. So that's where you're like, all right, just keep an eye on it. Well, we hit up here, and now we're backing off. Remember, miners have been just hot. So hot right now. First little pullback. Again, they haven't made any support. I mean, that's the thing with some of these moves. You like the pullbacks. Well, is this just a pullback? Well, you ask yourself that question. You go, well, look at the area. Keep an eye on it. GDXJ, right? Junior miners should be leading up. They're leading down. Be aware. AG, again, I love that they said we're not going to produce silver until the prices go up. Talked about this being a novice gap trap and could rally. Well, look where it failed. Again, longer term, I think you find this in a $5 price point. You go shopping, you probably can buy that. AEM hits upper range bound. Bull trap maybe? That wick yesterday, we talked about that wick yesterday. Now you gap down. Is that a professional gap? Is that starting the move? Starting? I don't know. We talked about Newmont again, lagging. Now remember, Newmont's the big dog. Makes lower highs from January, lagging hard as hell. Making new lows, 100-day. Ay, caramba. Trouble. Pass. Same thing. Hits up range highs. Zinka doink. All right, let's get into tech. Taiwan Semi, earnings tomorrow morning. Took profits on the trades we've had up here. We talked about shorting up here. Said this thing is a donkey, but it's holding range lows. Now, getting into earnings, you don't know. You want to roll the dice, you go right ahead. I rolled a lot of my TSM stock shorts into buying NVDS in the 16 to 1590 range today. Not too bad, not complaining. We'll see what happens here. Taiwan Semi, if it breaks, it's gone. And again, I personally think it's done. I mean, you've broken out of the channel. I mean, this is a bear market for tech, and people just don't see it as that. They just like, oh, tech only goes higher. And it's like, no, tech doesn't, my friend. Micron, look at this sucker, right? Choppy, toppy, gap down, 20-day. It feels like it's going lower. AM Dizzle, which has been absolutely smoked from 103, right? 102, 103. 50-day. I mean, do these do the bounce, or are they just slowly coordinating their way lower? Nobody believes it, right? Nobody believes it, but they're going lower, right? NVIDIA, holding up well. 280 test again. Posted that. Hopefully people are watching it. Keep an eye on this. Because again, if this is too steep. Now, again, people can argue whatever. And it's like, all right, well, it's now valued at insane future earnings based on the valuation. Well, again, you can argue same argument. I don't care. Just this move going insanely higher on AI and all the rumors and the pumping. Again, I look at the market when it pumps, when they pump everything at the highs, you got to be super scared. Intel, we talked about this, was bouncing and it hit resistance. Doink. Backs off. Again, you can see it better maybe on the weekly. 20-day. SMH been holding for dear life. The 50-day under the 20-day. Keep an eye on it. Looks like it's about to smoke. Get smoked. Could be wrong. It's near term. Adobe. Chopping. Apple trying to carry the market. Congratulations, Apple. Congrats. Do you have to fill the gap up here? I don't know. But congratulations. You are carrying the market. You are the leader of the pack. Is it sustainable? We'll see. Feels very novice gap trappish, but today's action does not confirm it. Amazon, wide and loose today. Still can't get above this stuck zone in the lower 100s. the top of the VAP zone. They got earnings come up. We'll see again. All these names, you don't know. Earnings is always a crapshoot. CRM, talked about 200 level. Here it is. Here it is again. Double top, maybe. Keep an eye on it. Guggenheim, AI, AIO. I mean, I'm trying to warn people. AI is a feature that's going to be free everywhere. It's great to think that it's worth investing in, but if you're buying it because of AI now, you are way too late. Too late. Under the 20-day, keep an eye on it. Meta, starting to crack. Laying off more people. I've told people Instagram is dead. AI will take a role of generating photo ideas, creative juices. Again, if you want to get on Instagram to post your pictures, go right ahead. This thing has just gone in a straight line move. I mean, not really. Again, after earnings, well, here you go. I talked about novice gap trap. Could rise. Earnings. Thought this was a trap. Making new higher highs. Part of trading, being wrong. But when you zoom out on the monthly, you're in some major, again, you can see it's here in the VAP zones. I mean, everybody knows. Do we have to get up to the two? I mean, people are talking about 246. I've said in my mind that when I look at the monthly, I feel like this is just going to be another wick up here. Because you can see it's done this thing where it gets to 220s and then rips right back. Keep an eye on it. Microsoft, 290 plus, cannot get over it. Resistance, hella resistance, not acting well. NDAQ, they came out with earnings today. Again, they're trying to pump. I like the idea that they're trying to pretend that they're going to somehow be a crypto exchange. Okay, all right, whatever. We talked about once it started rallying, let it go. Well, here you go. I mean, I would love to see it test this trend line in the 58 level. If it does, take a shot. MicroStrategy, if Bitcoin's going higher, it should be going higher. Well, it's starting to look like a little sloppy and choppy. So you see 312 break, you might be back down into 290s. And if Bitcoin breaks, adios. Netflix, wow. I mean, their guidance, this is a disaster. I've said for years, since the bottom, when I knew we talked about the worst was behind it, in a sense of the stock action, because you go, what, 700 down to 150? Again, assuming there's people out there like waiting to buy it and hold it forever. Kind of funny. Streaming wars. I mean, it's all about competition. I mean, it never ends. It literally never ends. 100-day, get below it. I mean, this is not what you want to see on earnings. But if the market holds up, it looks like they tried to buy it. I'm curious to see how it lasts. I mean, I personally think, again, we've talked about if you shorted up here, hell yeah. If you didn't short through earnings and you looked for the post earnings pop to short, look at it. I mean, and be careful though. Remember, the IV compresses after earnings, so options are very expensive. Roblox stopped giving monthly guidance, and they also always do it during OPEX, which is weird, middle of the month, like the 15th or something. What day is that? 17th. Well, whatever. It's always like the Monday or Tuesday of OPEX. Ouch. Or actually Monday to the middle of the month. That does gaps down, trapping. Tesla, after hours, holy crap. 173. Not good. We talked about the game over candle. Let me open it up so you can see it. It was that red guy right here with volume. Lagging. Now you're back down in the lower 170s. Keep an eye on it. I mean, I've said this over and over. Like, there's tons of people who are trapped in this name who think they're going to get rich off of Tesla. And it's like, you got rich off if you bought it in the 30, 40 range, 20 range, whatever, pre-split or post-split. This is done. Danunsky. I mean, money does not go back into old leadership when their growth rates are not, they don't have any margin expansion. Like, it's just they're fighting for margin, right? They're fighting against endless competition that's squeezing margin. Well, we'll see what happens here. I personally think, again, I'm not like a perma bear on. I just don't have any faith that I would buy it. I know people who shorted it up in this area. Congratulations. All right, materials. Letter X, interesting action, right? Hits the range highs, backing off. Nucor, same thing. Been chopping before earnings. I mean, this has been weaker. 20-day has been a problem. It's stuck to it. Caterpillar, not surprised it bounced, right? We talked about 200-day. Lower highs, I don't know. VALE, this thing got punished today. Look at this, gap down. Did they have earnings? Did I miss that? Either way, that's not good. That ain't good. Arrow, been holding up pretty darn well, right? We'd all agree with that. The exception, keep an eye on up here. You got some volume up here, getting wide and loose. So, Be careful. CCJ, as again, I like looking at these material names because if they're not, again, leading, you got issues. Because I think materials with inflation and like entrenched inflation and higher interest rates, you need to invest in the future, and it's not tech. You need materials to build out this new future, and it's cyclical. It happens like this. You always get lack of malinvestment in certain stuff, and then you get overinvestment in other stuff, and that's the thing. You've overinvested in tech or in semiconductors. Well, now you're gonna have gluts for years. You're undersupplied in materials. Probably not enough uranium out there. If you start kicking back on some of those nuke plants, we'll see. Keep an eye on it. Again, I personally wouldn't buy this stuff, but it's just worth watching until, again, when the Feds pivot and they start going ultra loose, then you got game. CF, we talked about taking profits, and then, somebody was like, oh, well, it didn't hit the 50-day, so I didn't take profits. And I was like, that's why the more you're up, the less you own. You trade around your positions, you raise your stops, you take money into strength. Didn't hit it. Gaps down yesterday. Chopping. Again, I like these. I love, maybe the like is not strong enough. I love these names long term, but because these are big consolidation phases. But I want to see the VIX spike. NTR. Here you go. Chopping. Whole lot of nothing. Yawner. Alcoa had earnings after the close today, down to the 40 level. Back down to 40. So, again, I don't need to read through their numbers. The reaction is what? Holding, at this point, it's holding chop range. But things that you would see if the market was really bullish long term, I think materials would be leading up. They're lagging. All right, give credit to credit due. XLF, man, really want to short the fuck out of JP Morgan. Talked about it, maybe filling this gap, testing the mid 33s to mid 32s. Well, we're there, right? We talked about this. If you're newer to the channel, watch the monthly. Not surprised, like during this banking crisis, blah, 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 you bounced off of a long-term support. Like this goes all the way back to 2009. Dead cat bounce, 20-month curling down, bearish. Could we get up there? I highly doubt that. So, I mean, maybe OPEX is where they pin the action because there's a ton of puts. I imagine in the financials if they were bought during what? A couple weeks ago when everyone was freaking out, right? Nah. Oh, JP Morgan monthly. Oh. In my mind, I'm like, do we fill the gap? Do we retest up here? I don't know. I like tech shorts, but man, at some point, financials look really juicy. I still have some FAS stuff and longer term stuff just kind of camping out in. Morgan Stanley. Opens low, closes high. Their earnings, I don't know how the best way to describe it. They're mediocre at best, but watch the 50, 100-day cross. Goldman, again, net interest margin was negative because, yeah, they're actually paying people to bring money in. I'm telling you right now, JP Morgan, a lot of these banks that are offering 0.1% checking savings accounts, they are going to see money flow out again at some point because they can't compete. Or if the money does stay there, their net interest margin is going to compress because why? They got to start paying people to keep money. Goldman, same thing, 50, 200-day cross. Also support area, now is resistance. Keep an eye on it. XBI, a lot of people got excited about this one. Okay, hitting the 200-day, watch this area. That's all I can say. Solar, a lot of people getting so excited that it's going to break out. I'm like, buy the rumor, sell the news. Watch what happens up here. ENPH, I mean, I know these names have earnings coming up. Just, they're coming into resistance. Just keep it simple, stupid. I don't think they'll break out, but any move, I mean, again, keep in mind, on earnings, you never know what could happen. It could pop up. Same thing. First Solar, again, a lot of people getting frustrated by it. Stopped out, get back in, trade it, whatever you got to do. Chopping at the range highs. Keep an eye on it. Oil, we talked about weakness. Curiosity killed the cat. Keep an eye on it. UNG, leave it alone, little doggy. Again, I know if you might want to trade it for $1. I just think it's just going to... XOP said watch it. It looked a little weak today. Again, taking out the range lows, but holding 20-day, filling the gap approximately. Personally, again, oil service should be holding up. If it doesn't, saying something. Good old Exxon Mobil holding up near the range highs. Keep it simple, stupid. They got, all these companies got earnings coming out. Occidental, you would think this would be up. Just keeps burning down slowly. PX Dizzle. ExxonMobil is really bad about buying companies at inflection point highs. I don't think they're really bad at it. I think they just get the. I imagine there's some sort of value in doing this long enough, knowing that, hey, if we buy this and our stock goes down, great, let's short it. And we'll all give bankers endless opportunity to short ExxonMobil and then buy it back on the dip once they integrate with the company and they start showing great profits later on, right? Keep an eye on PXD 200-day. I don't think it'll get, much higher, but if they get bought out, it could get a premium. I don't know. I'd probably leave it alone. EQT, Yeah, just not a whole lot. Not a whole lot chopping. Let's end it with what? Flex LNG. Personally, again, like this company in time, over time, at future times. Again, chopping. This is holding up really well on a bear market. I think ultimately we will be exporting a lot more natural gas. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Remember, it is earnings season. If you have particular names you're not sure about, please hedge into earnings. You have no clue what the heck is going to happen. I have known the numbers before a company reports, and I still have gotten burned because, again, I didn't know the reaction. I can't anticipate. Now, you've seen things where the company looks great, everything looks awesome, looks bad, looks market and stock does something else. Maybe the CEO resigns, maybe they get caught fraud, maybe they announce a buyback. You never know how the market's going to react. So do yourself a favor. Don't get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. Take your profits, move it around, look for other things. Like right now, like if you were in Taiwan Semi and you didn't take any profits off going into earnings tomorrow morning, you're rolling the dice. I hope it tanks. Great. If it doesn't, man, it's going to be a great opportunity to probably add back other stuff. I mean, you can go into stocks. You could have gone into other other tech names. I would just try to keep it simple. So if you have any questions, again, please reach out. Sign up for the newsletter at tradingagent.com. Let me know how I can help. Now, I mean, going forward at this point, just remember, it is what? Earnings. You have the sell in May and go away effect coming, and then you have the FOMC meeting 2 Wednesdays from now. Or, yeah, not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. I know for a fact at this point, based on everything, they are going to raise rates. I don't know if the market's going to really like that. We don't know. So be thoughtful, be patient, trade around your positions. Long-term bullish, no, you're an idiot. Long-term bearish, trade around it. We know when the market will bottom is when everyone hates stocks. The VIX spikes, hopefully at least to the 48 level, and everybody gives up. The day traders, the folks that are trying to get rich every day playing Z to, all these short-term options, they're going to be gone. And that's when you bottom, when everyone gives up. Just like at the highs, everyone's all in. Feels very similar now, like even near term for the market. Everybody's bullish. Like go read the sentiment indicators. So talk to you guys and gals later. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.